Happy WORTCUNNING Wednesday, y'all. This is Cammie. Thank you for joining me here. So this is a plant that I wanted to talk to you guys about, especially right now. It goes along with feverfew, so I think I'm just gonna post these both for WORTCUNNING Wednesday. But Comfrey is also called ass ear, bruisewort, knitbone, slippery root. There's a lot of names for it that refer to its ability to heal skin and tendon, ligament, and also bone. It's been used as a bone-setting herb. It's also an expectorant. There's a lot of information out there saying not to take it internally, but it's been taken internally for centuries. You just can't do too much of it. We tend to overdo things here in America, or in the US anyway. And so it's gotten a little bit of a bad rap. But really all you need is an ounce in a quart of water, simmer it down for about 20 minutes, very much like the feverfew. What you're going to want is not the leaf, but the root for that. And you take about 4 ounces of that, and you do it one time in a day. Feverfew you can do more than once, but this one you can really do only once a day. You don't want to do it for more than like 4 days in a row. And even that might start making your body feel a little weird. If you start feeling kind of sick from it, then don't take the tea anymore. But it's got something called pyrrolizidine alkaloids, which are considered hepatotoxic and carcinogenic, but only in large doses. Only in large doses. A lot of people are like, well, if it's that, then just don't take any. But if you're not taking any, then you're not getting the benefits of this wonderful plant. You can also use the leaf and flower. The root is just stronger. One of the ways that they used to use it as a bone-setting herb, the root, so if you dry it and you powder it, and then you put water on it, it becomes very thick and mucousy. And they would just spread that mucousy substance over the area that was broken. So they would set it, and then they'd spread this comfrey root poultice on the area, and then let it dry, and it would set hard, so it acted like a cast, basically. Not as strong as they are these days, but very similar. And then the properties of the herb help the tissues to heal as well. So pretty cool. Again, it becomes kind of mucilaginous, very sticky, thicky, and that, according to the doctrine of signatures, kind of indicates to you that it would be good for mucus symptoms. And so if you are producing a lot of mucus, you need an expectorant. Comfrey can be a mild expectorant. There are other ones that are expectorant that don't have pyrrolizidine alkaloids, and so you can choose those instead. Comfrey is also really good for diarrhea. You would take the 4 ounces, and if you're experiencing diarrhea, it may give you diarrhea if you don't have it, but not like severely. If you have diarrhea, then you can take the 4 ounces of Comfrey. It'll make the diarrhea a little worse in about an hour, but then the diarrhea will taper off. And if it doesn't taper off, then, go to the doctor and figure out what's going on. So one of the reasons that I want to bring this one up today is that like feverfew, this is a very protective herb, and the root and the flowers, the leaf, the whole thing. A lot of people choose to use the root, but look at the flowers. They're just so gosh darn pretty, and pollinators love them. I have native bees around this thing a lot. And this is like the 4th time that it's blossomed this year. You just cut off the flower stalk and it grows a whole new flower stalk in a matter of days. It's very prolific. But one of the reasons that I wanted to bring it up is that this herb magically helps to protect from violence by strangers. And we've been seeing a lot of violence from white nationalist groups, just angry people. The latter more understandable than the former, of course. And we're also seeing a lot of violence against protesters by the police, which is a large part of why the Black Lives Matter movement exists, is because of police brutality and systemic racism and systems of oppression and so many other things. But these people are out on the street doing the work, and so this plant can help us as witches to protect those people through our spell work. Of course, you also want to be calling representatives and amplifying Black voices and doing the work on yourself to understand your own, if you are a white person, doing the work on your own to understand racism and the thoughts of Black people and hear their voices. We want to be doing all of that work too. But if you're doing spell work to protect the protesters, or you're giving protesters sachets or pokes, this is a great herb to add in because of its power against strangers. Another herb really powerful for travelers. So together, feverfew and comfrey work really, really well. Especially if in your poke you include something like the, if you happen to have like the claw of a cat or the claw of a wolf or whatever. We've all got little bits and bobs around, hopefully ethically found, but if you've got it, put it in your poke, because that helps to draw in that energy. I'm also going to be posting a video for Thaumaturgy Thursday talking about spells that can help the protesters. But if you are also making herbal medicine for the protesters, comfrey is an excellent one because it helps to heal tissues. So it can help to heal those bruises, cuts, burns. It can help to heal the chemical burns from tear gas. It can help heal the swollen faces of people who have been hit with less lethal rounds, aka rubber bullets. Less lethal rounds is just, bullshit. They're still... Ugh. Anyway, but we've been seeing a lot of images of people with injuries, from mild to very severe, and this plant can be used to heal those both internally and superficially. So get yourself more familiar with this plant. It's a Jupiter plant, so it also helps to bring a little bit of joy. It's related to borage. And you can tell that it's related to juniper because of these big, thick, rough leaves. You can hear that rough sound. That indicates Jupiter. It's also Saturnine because it helps with the skeleton and the joints, and you can see here how the leaf kind of clings to the stalk and then pops off at this joint. It's got these downward facing flowers that all look like little cowls, kinda. It's also related to water and to earth. Again, feverfew is Venusian and watery, so this is another water plant that's more related to Saturn and Jupiter, both of which we need. We need to constrict the ability of police and anti-protesters damaging the people on the ground. And we need to amplify the voices of, so that the constricting is Saturnine. We need to amplify the voices of Black people and amplify the power of the protests and amplify the ability of the message to get through clear, loud, powerful, so that our country can actually undergo the change that it needs to get rid of these systems of oppression and racism So Jupiterian energy is really powerful right now. And then again, Venus, who is loving but also willing to strike when it is necessary. So thank you again for joining me on this WORTCUNNING Wednesday with our good friend Symphytum, officinale, or Comfrey. Keep amplifying the voices of Black people, donating, calling representatives, and doing this spell work to help the protesters who are doing so much good work. Peaceful, good work. And also using their power to protect Black people by any means necessary. So thank you for joining me on this WORTCUNNING Wednesday. I will catch you later. May we walk in the twilight. Bye.